Following yesterday's video, there was a lot of discussion down in the comment section, as there always is whenever something faction related is in the limelight. And a lot of it was centered around the idea of implementing some form of mercenary mode for classic WoW. Where the comments ranged from just put the thing in the game, I want to be able to queue some battlegrounds, to you only have yourself to blame for rolling Horde this time around. And there is some merit to both to a certain degree. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Mercenary mode? 4 expansions early? As talked about last time, it appears less Alliance want to engage with PvP content in World of Warcraft. This has been the case for a long time. Horde generally have had better racials, and there were some people who were a bit doubtful regarding Ironforge.pro when it came related to PvP type things. So here we go, this is Drustfar.com, and we can see the representations for the arena ladders here. Nearly 1 in 3 players are undead, and Horde make up over 60% of the player base for EU 2v2. In North America, a similar story with over a quarter of the players undead, and this time just shy of 60%. Now, humans are extremely representative of the Alliance portion, but then again, there is literally over double the amount of undeads. Horde PvP more. I don't think this is too much in question. Of course, this is for Arena, where your faction doesn't matter. It never has, but it just goes to show more Zug want more PvP. Where the faction imbalance is starting to have issues is the open world, and especially with battleground queues, because it does matter there, and it matters a lot. And just to clear the air around this, because I think there might be a bit of confusion, the faction balance on your specific server when it comes to queuing for battlegrounds does not matter at all. You have realms like Pagel where Alliance will queue up and they will get an instant queue because your queue is region wide. For America, it will be the tab under which server group you're playing, and for Europe, it's just all of Europe. It's been that way since the start of Classic, and this was something Blizzard originally brought in right at the end of Classic to make servers into battle groups to help battleground queues. But as we have more Horde people PvPing and wanting their honor gear, they have over hour-long queues. They're going into the world to gank Alliance, who are leveling, since they still give honor. This can be the case in reverse, but it just tends to be that way around, and you're actively incentivized to attack players who have little to no realistic chance to defend themselves, with zero repercussions at all in World of Warcraft. This has been a historic issue and a bit of a game design blunder in my opinion. Said players are being ganked, much like it was in Phase 2, and are now transferring off to PvE servers or quitting, which is bad for the players and bad for Blizzard, maybe good for Blizzard because of the transfer costs. I do have a hard time pinning this one on Blizzard though, where there is a common problem but nobody wants to fix it or be the first one to take the step towards change, and people understand what is necessary for change as well. Then again, saying don't like queues, just play Alliance. I honestly don't like that take either. This to me is the same as when people say, if you want difficult raids, go play retail. Just abandon your guild, friends, character, everything you've worked towards, your server, restart again from square one with 0 people you know, no one other to pre-made with, and absolutely a clean slate of gear. Problem solved, right? Yeah, no, not really. Were I a PvPer on Horde to the same degree I am a PvEer on Alliance, I would not even consider this an option. It's like when Blizzard opened free transfers, but it's the dead-end servers. Again, technically, yes, it would solve issues, but nobody wants to do it. Everyone wants somebody else to take the fall so you personally can be in a better place, and I can't blame them for that. That's people for you. Anyway, this is getting a bit deep for a 15-year-old game, isn't it? Mercenary mode, Merc mode, whatever we're calling it. I briefly touched on it last video, brought about in Warlords of Draenor. You go to an NPC, you talk to them, you get a buff called Mercenary Contract, you queue Battleground, then you race change automatically into one from the opposing faction when you enter, and the other team cannot tell you are a mercenary. Unless it's Classic, which it is, and people recognize your name or guild name and throw and/or grief the game on purpose, which will happen, by the way, special bunch that we are. Would mercenary mode solve the issue of battleground queues for Horde? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would. You see queues of people over an hour or 2 hours, and at some point they just give up for the day, right? With that many people waiting, it surely must become instant pop if this feature was a thing. Why is it a problem? Why aren't we taking the obvious solution? It's not learning from the past. It's a solution, but a short-term one, which has negatives in the long run. Imagine you have a leak coming from your roof, and your fix is to put a bucket underneath it. Problem solved, no more water on floor, back to gaming. Later, you come back and you see the bucket is overflowing, so you go to empty it, but you remembered you decided to concrete that bucket to the floor because this was meant to be a permanent solution to the problem. So now you have to come up with other solutions to the new problem that you have made by bailing the bucket out with a cup or something like that, all while the leak from the roof has never gone away because the cause of the problem was never addressed. Mercenary Mode would remove one of the fundamentally compelling reasons to stick it out with Alliance, because though they may not have as good racials, they do have instant queues. You can look to retell what's happened when racials go unaddressed for such a long period of time. At the top end of the player base, if you want to compete for pushing Mythic Plus keys, or for having an active guild with good recruitment pools, you should play Horde. Now over in Classic, we don't have properly hard content yet, but were Mercenary Mode introduced, and this might just happen anyway by the way, wait till mid-Wrath of the Lich King for the posts on Reddit and so on of I can't recruit for my Alliance Heroic Guild because there's not enough players. You heard it here first. Instead of making life easier for the Horde and accommodating more players who wish to engage with the overall quote-unquote superior faction, yes, I know that's not all of you out there, but people have re-rolled en masse for those sweet racial bonuses. Why not try to get more Alliance players to actually want to PvP? Crazy idea. Back in Battle for Azeroth, something called War Mode was added. Now, the idea behind this doesn't work with Classic fundamentally, but you go to your capital, you press a button to turn War Mode on, and that would replace PvE and PvP servers. You can essentially toggle it as and when you please, so long as you're in a capital. When it's on, you get bonus XP and bonus reputation. Nice, right? Now, initially this was turned on, and eventually the Horde started taking over all the PvP layers, fundamentally, or shards as they have it over there. So Blizzard added incentivization to go and get the Alliance to PvP. They did a weekly quest which said go kill 25 Horde players, and it did work, it just worked a little bit too well. I remember camping out a flight point in Justfar in a party of 5 and you just killed every Horde player that landed there. It was absolutely awful world PvP, but hey, it got me to turn on War Mode, I suppose. War Mode also doesn't work in Classic because it would essentially enforce 2 layers for every single server at all points in time. But looking to Classic, what do we have to encourage PvP? We have the Daily Battleground, which gives a bit of honor. Both factions have that. There are the Battleground Weekends, which, again, available to both factions. This doesn't really change much. What if we did more than this? Bring back the Mark of Honor for Alliance to get them to queue up more as we had it in the pre-patch, which would literally be doubling the Alliance's honor gain specifically for them. Would that get them to queue perhaps? Maybe increase the rate at which you can earn Marks of Honor. Perhaps on a loss you earn Shards of Honor and you can combine 10 together into a full mark. This does risk encouraging people doing those losing pre-mades again, but people were getting banned for that, so maybe, maybe not. Maybe add a bag of Mystery, Outland, Reputation tokens as a weekly upon winning X number of whichever battleground. How about a call to arms which says go and win 5, 6, 7, 8 of any battleground and get a Primal Nether as a quest reward. Those can be a real pain to farm for more casual players. That would be a guaranteed source of them, which could be worked to week on week. Or perhaps a combat bag of various things like bandages, potions, resilience gems. I'd just be kind of a bit wary about actually adding anything which you could sell though. Oh, and just in case you thought I was going to miss it out, mandatory comment about reducing size of pre-mades if you actually want to give Alliance more reason to queue. Those are just a few ideas at least. The game already has plenty of changes in already, and I'm happy with the majority of them, but I don't see Mercenary Mode as being a good one in the long run. I don't think it fits in a game with no sharding or cross-realm to alleviate imbalances, and it only serves to remove issues from a portion of the player base whilst totally ignoring the other half, or, well, less than a half these days. I don't realistically expect this to happen, of course, but it would be good to try something new rather than picking something from a later expansion and just trying to port it over. Sort of like how the Chronoboon Displacer was brought in at the end of Classic to answer players' issues with collecting world buffs and being forced to raid log. Though I can't say Horde being more populous at this early stage has been entirely a surprise. If anything from Blizzard, it will probably be A, they do nothing, which means they consider it a player-made issue, or B, free single faction transfers on certain servers, which, if they pick dead enough servers, won't change anything. Imagine if they picked Skyrim and said, okay, Skyrim Horde players, you can transfer on this server to Alliance for free. Who in their right mind is going to do that? It will have literally no effect. I don't think they will do paid transfers because I believe more players engage with PvE at endgame, and it would cause Alliance players to go Horde in order to get the better racials without having to reinvest time into their character again. But then again, that type of player might not be queuing PvP anyways and might not care about this. As much as the really long battleground queues are bad, I don't think Mercenary Mode is where it's at to solve it. As always, let me know your thoughts on this. Hopefully it was reasonable enough and you can see where I'm coming from. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you on the next one very soon.